Holy cow, we're back. It's Hogging the Mic. I'm your host, Eddie Jenkins, with the other host, Kenneth Paltrow III. How you doing, buddy?
Man of a thousand jerseys back in action.
That is a trail of tears that no man should be burdened with. And our other host, Maximus Bacon. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. I'm just glad we don't have to call and hear Kenny's voicemail anymore.
That was sad. Is that a LeVar Arrington jersey you have?
It is.
Are you going to close down your restaurant and not pay your employees too?
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that. My thought on wearing this was we need linebackers, and he was our last I won't even say great linebacker pick we've had because he wasn't, but
great pick. The last linebacker, London Fletcher, but that's few and far between.
The best free agent pickup in modern Redskins football team history, London Fletcher.
Yes.
Or London Felcher or whatever they put on the scoreboard that day when they honored him, because that's what Dan Snyder does.
Also, the tickets one year, I'm pretty sure they jacked that up too.
Well, there was who was it? Roy Halou was Robert Halou because next to Robert Griffin on the tickets.
Somebody was copy pasting. And, things haven't changed so much as they changed, by any other non-name. Would a football team smell so lousy? Guys, I had big hopes coming into this season. Big hopes. You know what I was saying. I was saying at least 13 wins. I don't know how I felt after this. They just came out flat, and they were flat the whole game. They looked awful. There was a few sparks, but especially on defense, the quote unquote elite defense that they have. I don't even think they'd be on Raw. Little long dynamite at this point.
Okay, so let's start off. Eddie, you said 13-4 more or less. Max, what were you thinking before the season?
I believe I said 11-6.
Man, you guys are smoking too much of the good stuff. Pessimistic Ken was saying 9-8, and I'm still saying 9-8 because they played worse than I would have liked, but about how I expected.
Yeah, you were very pessimistic coming into it, which is, depressing as always for Kenny. This is a sad cast.
This is a sad cast. Pessimistic 9-8 is optimistic, especially for Washington football team fans. You want pessimistic? I give you my 0-47 prediction. 9-8's like I'm gonna throw a parade if they do that.
Owen Cooley. But yeah, I don't know. The defense is what really got me, because they finished really well last year, but maybe it was a false positive. If you look at some of the teams they finished down the stretch and beat, they weren't exactly beating great offenses. I mean, they beat the Cowboys, but who was the quarterback for the Cowboys there, Kenny?
My boy Ben DiNucci.
R.I.P.
Go Dukes.
Yeah. So they were playing people like that, and they just, they took care of them in good order. But then they played the Eagles, and they probably wouldn't have beaten the Eagles until their former coach benched their quarterback, who is playing very, very well, and is their current quarterback now, for no reason really, other than to throw the season, I guess.
Yeah, I think I feel like we're getting too sad after one game. You can't judge a team until 4 games into the season. Was I impressed with what I saw on Sunday? No. The Chargers, in my opinion, played a C- game and beat us. Yes, Herbert's great. They have a high-powered offense. They're better than they're probably better than they were last year. But 13 for 16 on third downs, was it? Second worst in Redskins / team history. Not okay.
And yeah, did the secondary look any better? Did they look improved from last year? Because that was definitely the weakest point of that defense, was the secondary. And it
Yeah.
just looked like the middle of the field was open the whole time. Those
Yeah.
linebackers can't cover for crap.
Well, we were trying to come up with a creative nickname for the linebackers, and I thought we were bouncing around names like the Bermuda Triangle because the middle of the field was wide open. Everybody was just gone whenever they entered, if they were in a burgundy jersey. And I don't know. It was, yeah, the secondary didn't look good. St. Juice was in his first game, knows quite a bit. He was getting beat, and we missed a lot of tackles as well.
You can just call them the blow up dolls because every time they would throw it, they would just look at them with their mouths wide open as they went by. Awful. Just
we
awful.
call them the flyover states because nobody wants to be there in the middle of the field. So my problem with obviously the linebackers, biggest issue we have this season, game one, it was as if we were playing either 38 yards off the ball or 2 with our line.
They settled into zones so often.
And nothing in between. My other problem I had with the defense this week was every time that Herbert threw to the sidelines, he seemed to do that. Like it was either over the middle because the guy was just wide open, taking a nap, and like we'd wake up and catch a football for a first down, or he would throw an out pattern. And our cornerbacks were constantly facing the opposite direction from the quarterback, like just looking away. Turn your head around, make a play.
That being said, Herbert was throwing some bullets. Like he was putting the ball where it needed to be most often, to where only the receiver could catch it, no matter how good the coverage was. To look at a positive here, I'm not trying to put some spin on a turd or anything, but he looked really good. So I'm going to pose a question to the two of you. Do you wish that our football team would have taken him instead of Chase Young?
Well, I think there's some nuance to that conversation because obviously we'd love to have a young franchise quarterback that plays to that level. But you know what Chase Young gives us, and if we skip on Chase Young, he's likely a New York Giant right now.
You think so? Because and I'm not even sure that they would have picked Herbert either, because I know they had their eyes on Tua, and that's not really panned out too well for the Dolphins thus far. I don't know if they would have picked him, but yeah, it kind of hurts a little bit, I would say, just because it's been so long. They haven't had a true franchise quarterback since Theismann, probably. And yeah, they won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, so maybe it's kind of just baked into the DNA of this franchise that, oh, maybe we can just be fine and, whatever, and we'll do it because, like people like Rex Grossman have made it to the Super Bowl before, and Chet Dilfer. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they had a plan this offseason to really attack that position that has been like the sore on the bottom of the tuchus of this franchise for so many years. It's what's held them back in so many ways. Even when they had those great defenses back when Greg Williams was coaching.
To go back to your question, the way we draft quarterbacks, would Chargers Justin Herbert be Washington football team Justin Herbert?
Correct. Justin Herbert or Chase Young. We made for once the correct decision because Justin Herbert would be Robert Griffin IV if we had drafted him.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair.
Make the call.
And also, there's been some criticisms thrown Chase Young's way that after this game too, that he's a one-move guy. He only bull rushes, which if you look and you watch, he bull rushes a lot. He doesn't really have any other moves. Our offense is going to figure him out and be able to block him because he didn't really sniff the quarterback too much this game.
And that was supposed to be a mediocre offensive line.
So I think even if he's got one move, because that one move worked real well his rookie year, if this is true, I have to admit, like, I don't watch Chase Young's moves to the game. I'm just watching him eat quarterbacks raw. So if he
That's a hell of a way to put it.
If he does have one move, let him be blocked for a couple games, and then if he's truly a franchise player, he learns, he adapts, and he continues to eat quarterbacks raw.
Hashtag eat quarterbacks for all. Gross.
I mean, I feel like Eddie's the expert on Chase Young. He watches him the entire game. I don't think he takes his eyes off of him even when he's on the sideline.
He's got picture in picture, and it's just two Chase Youngs.
I've gotten him tattooed on the inside of my eyelids. That's how much I love Chase Young, and I hope he is the once in a franchise player that he's been touted as being, and he seemed like he was the first year. But then again, we thought Robert Griffin was the once in a generation player after 1 year and winning Rookie of the Year on the offensive side of the ball. So we'll see. There's something about this franchise that just breaks people inside somehow, or it makes them less good, which is frustrating. And there's a lot of positives to look at from the offseason. There's a lot of good things to see from the team. But this first game hurt. It hurt a lot. And it wasn't just the defensive side of the ball. If you looked at the offensive side, they came out flat. Fitz in his 6 attempts didn't look himself, didn't look good. He was very just like didn't have the oomph on the ball. And yeah, I think he finished with minus 0.3 fantasy points or something like that. He was awful. And then he gets driven into the ground from a blindside hit, which I think leads us to this point of Kenny's trail of jersey sadness. I think it's time to retire the jersey for at least 6 to 8 weeks.
Are we doing this now? Do you want me to? Are we doing this? Is this happening?
I think it's a ceremonial thing, like whistle whatever song you think is appropriate. As you lay him to rest.
Like, sad funeral song. So what we're gonna start doing, and hopefully, so here's my thing. I don't want this to be a weekly podcast thing we do, because that means I have to buy 14 more jerseys. I want this to be the one time we do it and everyone loves it, and then we never do it again because Taylor Heinicke retires at the age of 56 as a Washington football team 7-time Super Bowl champion. So in saying that, for all the video, I guess, people out there, this is the official passing of the torch from one jersey to another. I have to get up. Oh, thank you. I have to get up for this.
Fitzpatrick, R.I.P. Spoiler alert, there's a Cam Newton jersey on under there.
Yeah, you don't want to know what's on underneath this, because there's probably 14 more layers by 2023.
Just fur. Just man fur.
Ben fur. Because we'll be the Red Wolves.
Oh.
That's for another podcast.
We can talk about that soon.
Howl in the mic.
I was hoping that. No. I was kind of hoping Kenny was gonna slip and slide into that.
I'm just, I'm gonna blame Kenny for the Fitzpatrick thing, because you are also a disabled hip person.
He's just trying to be like his fans.
You yourself have little hip, a robot hip. So yeah, pretty disappointing after he was being touted this summer and in training camp and everything, is going to be like, if he can just be good, like decent, which is above the mediocrity that we've had the past several years of people like Dwayne Haskins, then maybe, just maybe, with this elite defense that they can really be contenders. And then he lasts a quarter and a half.
So here I got to go back, and I'm gonna make a Heinicke sandwich. So Heinicke was a guy that no one knew last year, because he was literally studying college courses at Old Dominion, and we get him. So when you get a guy like the three of us probably exchanged tweets of like, hey, there's a college kid on our practice squad. The next thing we know, this dude is in the playoffs, and this dude's doing something that we haven't seen a Washington football team quarterback do.
Ball out.
Well, I mean,
with
like,
swag.
Right. He pocket presence. I mean, even like Kirk Cousins, when he was most consistent, didn't have that, because he's a slow little man.
And he fumbles the ball a lot.
Right. And he makes tons of mistakes. Heinicke, pocket presence, field awareness, and just has this like swagger. And we all got to watch it on TV because there were no fans. And we watched him almost beat Tom Brady, and we watched him be the only quarterback to almost beat Tom Brady in that entire run. So the offseason starts, we give him a contract. It's pretty big.
4.5 million for 2 years.
Right. And so you're going like, well, that's a great, 2-year bridge quarterback, give him a chance contract. And then all of a sudden we get Fitzpatrick to replace another elderly old man without a leg. And we're going, well, I mean, it's good for a year. That's fine. And everyone loves Fitzpatrick. I just want to give a shout out to my favorite play before we even signed Fitzpatrick of the face mask play that's now famous because Fitzpatrick ruined the Raiders' playoff chances when he became the Exorcist and his head turned around and he threw a 50-yard bomb.
Did better than Lamar.
Right. It was perfect. So I already was like all about like that. And then we get him. So I'm going, all right, you know what? Fine. I always thought we should have given Heineke a chance first, but I was okay with Fitzpatrick on the team. Well, Fitzpatrick now is me. He's hipless. As soon as Heineke came into the game, you could tell the crowd went from like murmurs and here we go again and being covered in raw sewage to like people. There was a Heineke chant. There was a Heineke chant. This guy's played 6 quarters for us.
But give props where props are due. I was the first person on the Heineke bandwagon before the playoff game. I made a bold prediction. First part of it almost came true. I said he would beat Tampa, but I said he would start multiple games for the team this year. And he's going to. As long as he doesn't get hurt, he's going to start multiple games. And he played out. Because I watched more Heineke footage than his parents before that game. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of like this guy.
I love the guy.
I might go get that Legend of Taylor Heineke shirt from Fanatics.
Yep.
Kind of like that shirt.
The same thing.
Yeah, Kenny, you were there. Were there really Heineke chants while Fitzpatrick was laying on the field?
No.
No. So not while he was laying on the field. It was after he did the shovel pass when it looked like everything was like the play was over, and he just saw McLaurin just shovel passed it.
That was so Brett Favre.
That's the first thing I said, Eddie, in the stands. I was like, well, that's young Brett Favre. And it was like, I'm not saying he's going to have a 20-year career, but like that play was something that he created, which, we watch Mahomes do it. We watch Lamar Jackson do it every week. And I watch my quarterbacks take poops in their pants or break their bones, one or the other.
Or just tear all their ligaments.
And for once, I watched my quarterback do something where it was like, that goes on Sports Center. Like, if we win the game, not when we lose the game eventually. But at the same time,
it's ability to play improvisational sandlot football when the play breaks down and to be smart about it. Because he stepped up into the pocket and he went left. He came right up to the line of scrimmage, pulled the defender up, and just flipped it past him.
Gosh,
how smart is that?
So I went from watching a quarterback. Fitzpatrick, he can do it, but we look lifeless, and I'm sick of watching us look lifeless. I watched another quarterback come in who's had something like 8 quarters on our team over another COVID offseason where there's not like any flow. He's practicing with the second team, and he comes in and just looks good again. And we couldn't finish drives with him, but give him a few games. That will happen as long as his kneecaps don't slide down into his feet, which will probably happen because I'm full of sadness.
Well, every game he started, including the playoff game, or every game he's played in the NFL, including the playoff game, besides this last game, he's gotten hurt in some shape, form, or fashion. So, that is something to worry about there. If you saw his interviews from today being Tuesday, September 14th, he was talking about how, he wants to run, but only as a last thing. You know what I mean? He likes using his wheels and he likes doing that, and he's smart about it, right? Unlike some people that do it and then their legs fly over the place like Gumby got smashed into Pokey's ass. So, I like what I hear from him, and apparently the guy's fairly smart. He does some sort of mathematics or some shit. So apparently he knows things. Maybe it's geometry. Maybe that's why he's good at throwing the football. And that one pass to McLaurin, can we talk about that pass to McLaurin?
The
That was
pass was
nasty.
perfect, but that was more McLaurin just the
but having the balls to give him a chance,
for sure.
and then McLaurin like doing some Matrix type stuff, and somehow tracking the ball and catching it.
Yeah, his feet
The,
were facing one way and his upper body was facing the other.
He
And
was
like
leaned over backwards.
I
yeah,
thought I thought the corner literally picked the ball off, like watching it on TV in live action, because his arms were extended out over McLaurin, and like then you see Terry hold the ball up, and you're like, "Holy crap, what just happened?"
the adjustment he made while that ball was like 10 feet from him was incredible because, I mean, from a being there perspective, with the angle I had on that was, well, like that ball was thrown kind of behind him. And it's been 32 years since I've seen one of our receivers catch a ball like that. Actually, I can remember once, if you all remember this, a few years ago, I think it was Harmon in a game made like a one-handed grab the exact same way when we were all in his rookie year, and we were all like, Harmon's going to be the answer. And then we never heard from him again because he got injured, and then that happened. But
also Anthony Armstrong in the Green Bay game when he jumped over everybody and caught that one ball for the win.
I don't even remember that, to be honest. But
it's a glorious picture if you ever see it. It was like I rubbed it in mine and Max's friend Miller's face so hard.
So I guess
make that adjustment. It's like this guy. You know, I watch other teams do it all the time. Like I was just saying, the same thing with like quarterback pocket presence. I watch other guys. I watch Tyreek Hill run down the field 1,000 miles per hour, and it looks like it's so easy. Then I watch my receivers just like weep in front of their cornerbacks before nothing happens. McLaurin is a guy that, like most guys, would love on their team, and we have him.
And yeah. I want to see more of Sims and less of Humphreys. Like, what has he done ever?
Yeah, he's just like a veteran, sure-handed slot guy, like just a comfort blanket, pretty much.
And who gets penalties that kills drives.
Yeah,
I want to see my young guys given a shot. And yeah, I know that they brought him in because he worked well with Fitz, but well, Fitz is dead. He's dead. He's gone.
So all right. So Kenny wanted to kind of go through some of the positions. So obviously we've kind of touched on quarterback a little bit, but one last question I have for you is, why do you think that Taylor Heinicke, everybody that you talk to or see on TV, they're already convinced that he can't be the answer? He's not the answer. Whenever we have seen these flashes of greatness, is it just because he has an injury history?
I don't think that's it. I think it's because there's so much PTSD amongst this franchise's fans that you don't believe anything that's in front of you anymore. Like
not even just the fans though. I mean, like, you know, analysts and
analysts, schmanalysts,
other teams fans, and
like how good's Mayock again? He was a great analyst, real good GM too, huh? Idiot.
Well, okay. So I have an answer for that, and the answer to that is because the dude 3 years into his NFL career was studying college courses in December. There is
because
a reason.
He's 3 foot tall.
Well, listen. There's a reason why the three of us are not smarter than every franchise in the NFL. Maybe a couple of them, especially ours, but not all of them. And there's a reason why Taylor Heinicke could not make top 3 or 4 quarterbacks on 32 teams. Now, does a guy maybe on his own time study economics 101 and then watch game film and then go in his mom's backyard and play football and work on his foot movements? Possibly, because there's something that we're watching where it's like, man, given time and practice, this guy has potential to be something.
Definitely. Like, I mean, again, I was on the bandwagon. I'm going to say first. I think it's documented well on the Hog and the Mike Twitter. But we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic. It's what I wanted. It's what I was hoping for. In some ways, I didn't really want Fitz to go down like this, but I did have a feeling because he doesn't often make it through a whole season that we were going to see Heinicke sooner or later.
Was there anything there with Kyle Allen, or besides a Rivera connection from Carolina?
I think they liked him. They traded for him. I don't think he's anything. I think he's
a backup guy.
Just a
Colt
jag.
McCoy 2.0.
Just a jag. Not even McCoy. Like McCoy, I swear if McCoy had an arm, and not just like a noodle. Dude's smart. I think he can play ball, but I just don't think he had like the physical arm to actually make a lot of the NFL throws and be competent on this level.
Fair enough. So do you wanna do the running back?
Running backs, sure. They
He
were fine, minus the dagger, minus putting the ball like after an interception, after the defense had sucked all game. Finally gave you something. Finally gave you something. Picked one off. Uh, and just yeah, like couldn't do anything about it. Just put it right in the dirt immediately.
yeah.
Like
You can't do that and win ball games, close ball games.
nope.
Can't
And
do
he was
that.
having a great game beforehand.
Antonio Gibson is the answer. Also, Jarrett Peterson is going to be the man. You heard it here first, even though everyone would say the same thing once you saw him in preseason. Just love with that dude. That dude is a hard runner, a fast runner. Guy had like 480 yards in a football game 2 years ago for college. I really like him. I'm so glad that he replaced Barber.
Did you just call him Jarrett Peterson?
And see, I'm cheering for him too because
Patterson.
he like had a literal Redskins shrine in his parents' basement, like growing up, and is a fan. And you see stuff like that, like it being everybody's dream, I think, to play for your football team at one point in time in your life, you know, when you think you're a great athlete or whatever. But this guy went and did it. Like, so you got to be cheering for him. You hope it happens. You keep your fingers crossed, and here he is. I think he looked good when he was out there. Hopefully, it's a good 1-2 punch. Hopefully, Gibson can recover mentally from that and from the shoulder injury that he sustained. It sounded like he was a full go in practice today. Hopefully, it keeps going on, and they just pick up and keep going. Like, and I don't want to see Gibson dropping any more footballs too, because you could tell he was in his head after that. Because they immediately came back to him, and he dropped the ball.
It seems like y'all are channeling your inner Scott Turner, and you already forgot about J.D. McKissick as well.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, like he's who he is. I have no thoughts on McKissick.
He was. I mean, he played, but he didn't do anything. I feel like last year he was catching 5-6 passes a game minimum, and I think he had one catch for 8 yards or something like that. But anyhow, we got to get that offense going, and he's dynamic. They need to get him the ball a little bit, I think.
I mean, Kenny's so ashamed at this point that he won't show his face to us right now.
You're kick me out of this, so you're only getting audio at this point.
And that takes us to another kind of sore point on the offense, from the running backs to the offensive line. Should they have let Morgan Moses go?
Yeah, that's a good question. At this point, they threw Cosme to the wolves. I will say he pretty much had to block arguably the best defensive end in the game right now.
And it didn't even look like they were chipping him. Like, why wouldn't you help him when you see him struggle like that?
Gibson laid him out one play though. I don't know if you saw that or not, but he literally smacked him in the mouth and knocked him backwards. It was nice.
I didn't see that, but I'll have to go see if I can find it. Like
the one time he was blocked, I believe.
But not great. I mean, Sheriff, multiple penalties, including one that really, like that one offsides that really killed a drive. There's a lot of penalties too. It wasn't a clean game, like at all.
It wasn't a Rivera discipline game. I feel like I was kind of disappointed.
Me too. Me too.
My thing is, it's game one.
Oh yeah.
Once again, off season's a little shattered because of the whole COVID thing. Like it's not as fluid as normal. I'm going to give a lot of teams, especially on week one, you give them 3-4 weeks. If we're doing this by week 4, it's a problem. Week one, I thought that the craziest thing to me in 2020 was we had 5th string linemen on the offense that were starting that was doing a phenomenal job. And we have most of them back. Like it wasn't all Morgan Moses last year. Granted, he did do his part, but I think we'll be okay there. Devil's advocate of that statement. we don't have a starting quarterback right now. Our quarterback one is dead because of the offensive line.
Yep. Or a water slide if a random caller on 1067 The Fan is to be believed. And I don't know, maybe it wouldn't surprise me at all. Just knowing how the luck has gone here with franchise quarterbacks. I mean, Dwayne Haskins did spend like $25,000 or something on an Instagram hooker or something like that. So awesome. Not a lot of smart people. Of course, this one went to Harvard, so maybe. I don't know. And something that bothered me as well. And this goes into offense. The punt. Let's talk about the punt.
Yeah, that was I think I sent you the statistics on it being
Cowardly
one
punts.
one of the most cowardly punts in NFL history. But that being said, at that point in the game, it's easy to say knowing what we know now, but I actually thought it was a smart decision the way the Chargers were moving the ball on us to use our arguably best weapon in Tress Way to pin them deep, and we had them pinned 3rd and 16 on the 12-yard line.
But but then again, look at what he was doing to the defense the whole game. Look at the third down conversions the whole game. Do you trust that defense at that point? He's kind of got their number.
4th and 7, maybe. 4th and 12, no.
Right. There's a difference between 3rd and 4 conversions, 3rd and 6 conversions. 3rd and 16, if you give that up, you deserve to lose. That's it. Ron Rivera made that right decision, and I am someone that always say you play to win. But there was 7.5 minutes. I believe we had 2 timeouts at that time, and we put them on the 10-yard line with a defense that's supposed to be our thing and a backup quarterback in the game. You pin them back and you get the ball in the 50. But we had 3rd and 16. All you have to do is have a linebacker exist.
I just thought it was a little bit chicken shit for a guy that's supposed to be a riverboat gambler. Mr. Let's let them fall as they may. That was a little bit chicken shit for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think at that point, seeing what he was doing to the defense and how he was coming up with play after play, no matter if it was 3rd and whatever, he was doing it every time. He was putting the ball right on the money and throwing darts. I gotta trust in Heineke for that one, because when they gave him the ball, he was rolling for the most part. Like when they gave him time, like and Gibson wasn't putting the ball on the turf.
So on the other side of that coin is if we had gone for it, we made it, we scored a touchdown, we went up by we went up by 3 points. They were still getting the ball back with 4 or 5 minutes left. It still would have happened. So you like they were going to get the ball back. We just wanted to be like last up, and if we could stop them right there, that was a game-winning drive. Except our defense said, "What's a defense?"
I think it's very questionable though, especially when you look at the percentages on that, and should be playing making data-driven decisions. I would say at this day and age in sports, probably a smart thing to do. I thought it was kind of foolish. I think it's something that'll be questioned. I hope I don't see that kind of cowardice again. Like I was disappointed in it.
I feel like a data-driven decision putting a single linebacker in the middle of the field on 3rd down. I mean,
I think that's just an intelligent decision.
Also, we're not looking at the stat of how many quarterbacks were eaten raw by Chase Young last year. Infinite amount of quarterbacks, and that was supposed to happen, but it just didn't.
All right, well, let's flip the script to the other side of the ball a little bit. Let's talk about defensive line. Not a lot there. A lot of first round draft picks. Not a lot of sacks. What did they get? 1 sack the whole game?
They get like a D, only for the sheer fact they were able to stop the run, but
sometimes
not in key situations, and they could not get a pass rush at all. Which
it was bad.
When you spend like 4 first-round picks in a row on defensive line, you got to get more than that out of them.
Got to expect more than that. I expect more than that. I think I saw more than that out of Kerrigan during the Eagles game.
So I forgot he plays. Don't bring that. Come on, stop it.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts.
Right. I forgot he was even there.
Speaking of first round picks.
Yeah. So to me, this was like a perfectly baked dessert that just tasted like crap today, like Sunday. And on Thursday, it's going to taste great again. It's fine. It'll be fine. Daniel
Everything's fine.
Daniel Jones is going to be, and say it with me, eaten raw.
I think Kenny's room's on fire around him, and he doesn't even know it.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel Jones has quote unquote eaten the team raw more than he's eaten any other football team in the entire league raw.
The
repeatedly.
Savage Rivera quote of
yeah.
we gotta figure out why Daniel Jones. We're one of the few teams that Daniel Jones plays good again.
And I don't need him to give him any like freaking bulletin board material at this point, because he barely looks like an NFL quarterback half the time, but against Washington every time.
No, you're right. That's the only thing I have in the back of my head about this game, that we have a chance to lose.
All right. Well, we've already talked about the secondary ad nauseum and the linebackers. Let's talk about special teams. Let's talk about the tiddlywinks. Cut him. I think like 45 yards, maybe 40. Pretty darn accurate. Anything outside of that, absolute garbage. But you see a guy on Monday Night Football hit a 55-yarder to keep the game going. You see it happening with good teams all the time. They're finding kickers that can do it. It's time to let him go. He's not that good. He's not even that good on kickoffs.
Right.
He's cost them more games than he's won them. And it's way past time to kick him to the curb.
And then he'll become David Akers.
I have a source that has a lot of stats in it. It's called stats that I've made up in my head. And one of the stats that I know for a fact that I made up in my head is that Dustin Hopkins is 0 for 76 over 50 yards. I do not believe he's ever made one, and for some reason, he tries 7 a game. And I don't know why, because in this game, I lost $20 in the third quarter when I bet the fans around me that he was going to miss a field goal, and it was like 40 yards, and he made it. And then I said double or nothing because it was a 50-yarder, and I got my money back.
He's awful. He's just awful. I think other than that, returns fine, nothing special there. No egregious mistakes. We've got our Pro Bowler back there punting the ball for us. Love him. Consistently good. Consistently just knows how to place the ball. Does it all the time. Probably will make the Pro Bowl again this year.
So we're going to give Eddie Pinheiro his shot, I guess.
Oh, God. It's going to take a few games. I do want to say that I do think our special teams has gone from the Tiddlywinks 12 to the Tiddlywink period. And the Tiddlywink is Dustin Hopkins.
And he needs to hop his ass on out of FedEx and never come back. I'm so sick of him.
Well, so I will give you credit that, like, the timeline goes something like 1987, Dustin Hopkins was born. 1989, he missed his first field goal. 1990, Eddie wanted him cut. And then just last year is when I finally got on that bandwagon. I was supportive of him, and then it was too much. Like you miss field goals, I get it. He misses too many field goals.
I'm the one that tells you what the malignant parts are before you're willing to come to grips with it most of the time.
Yeah,
I'm here for that. I'm here to be negative before you can be overly negative.
I'll give you that. You've done it a few times. I remember you were on the Josh Dodson, Malcolm Kelly 2.0 train early on.
Yeah,
there's been a few you've called.
I called Bruce being the worst person in the world.
Was Robert Griffin III.
It's because he touched me in a space my heart hadn't been touched since 1992.
He was the last one to let that one go.
Yeah, maybe. 2012 was a magical year. It's probably the last time I could say that I was truly, truly happy as a Redskins fan. And I haven't felt it since. I want to. Please, anyone. Make me feel good.
you had that glimmer of hope in the off season. You shaved your beard, your Ritz crackers are gone.
It was never
I,
Ritz crackers. It was never Ritz crackers.
well, whatever they were, they're gone. And no, I'm like Kenny. I don't think you can give it all away after week one.
No.
Actually, on my NFL picks for the week, I picked all the games. I picked the Chargers to win. I just had some sort of inkling in me that something was going to go wrong in that game.
Everybody boo Max.
Yeah.
Boo.
I will never pick against my team, even if I know they're going to lose. Even if Ron Rivera sends me a handwritten letter that said, I am losing this game, I'm
And
picking the team.
speaking of
I was
Robert
right,
Griffin the Turd, after okay, so now he's an analyst, so to speak, whatever that means. And during the game, he says, "You got to give the people what they want, and what they want is more Heineke." But that didn't stop him from on Twitter posting the Vikings run of the 68-yard run, and then also posting a picture on Instagram with the title "Make the Call."
that Jarrett Patterson liked.
I think we should have a rule that we never mention Robert Griffin III on here again, only because of how insignificant Robert Griffin III is in 2021.
Exactly. It's been almost 10 years since one magical season, and then lots of trauma afterwards. Just
I was
loads of trauma.
proud of Eddie. He said the ship has sailed on Twitter.
It sailed.
I
He never
hope
learned how to slide. He never
I
learned how
hope
to read a defense.
I hope that Dwayne Haskins posts a picture of the one completed pass he had in week 4 and says the same thing.
Oh Jesus! I hope Joe Theismann posts a picture of his leg, all healed up. Make the call. Ah, jeez.
Do co-posts.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we didn't get a pre-Chargers pod in. So real quick, I'm gonna throw a few categories out. I wanna hear your guys' answer on what you predict for the season. So first of all, who is gonna be our offensive player of the year?
McLaurin.
Agreed. And it won't even be close.
Won't even be close.
I won't say that. Followed by his new best friend, Mr. Heine himself.
I think Gibson will be the number 2. But yes, I'm in agreement on McLaurin. Defensive player of the year.
It's gonna be Chase. I was making the talks about the bull rush and everything. Chase is gonna have a good year.
So Chase Young's.
You think it's gonna be Holcomb? You think it's gonna be Bostic, Kenny? Yeah.
Kenny thinks it's going to be Landon Collins.
I was gonna say I can tell you who's not gonna be, and that's human garbage composition. Landon Collins. Who is gonna be? Montez by God Sweat.
That is if he doesn't not make a few games for some reason. We'll see. We'll see.
I think he'll be okay. I hope he'll be okay. Montez Sweat, in my opinion, is right now better, much better than Chase Young. But we're comparing an A to an A plus, in my opinion.
You mean Adonis to I don't know, something I whittled out of a piece of I don't know, plyboard.
Yes, that.
Montez has a year on him. I'm going with Eddie. I'm going with Chase Young.
That's the easy pick.
Yeah, no, I like your pick though. He's going to be the strong number 2. I have a feeling. And
Kenny's smarter than everyone else.
Of course. Last but not least, rookie of the year. That's a tough one.
I don't know, and frankly, I honestly don't care. As long as I see progress and I see actual a team building and having layers of good players, so when the next man steps up and they have to, that they're better, and that you don't see a big drop off, because you've seen that year after year, this team has had so many injuries, so many injuries every year, and they've just they've fallen into utter disaster because nobody stepped up. There was not good drafting. There was not good anything, and yeah, they just looked awful. So hopefully people step up. Everybody actually, is coached up, coached well, and we have rookies that can fill the holes when the inevitable injury bug happens.
I have 3 answers.
3 answers?
No, listen. I have 3 answers. I have who it's actually going to be. I have who it's going to be, not because my first answer is ridiculous. And then my third one is who it should be. So the person that's going to be Rookie of the Year is Cheeseman. He's our long snapper, and he's going to be great. The person but he's going to have no impact on the game other than he's not going to F up. Number 2.
He's got a cool name.
Yeah, great name. Plus, he's like our 3rd long snapper in 25 years. By the way, I'm going on record, and you can take this to my deathbed. The Washington football team has, since the New England Patriots started their dynasty, the best long snapper in the NFL since the year 2000.
I miss Ethan Albright. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we've had listen, Sundberg and Albright. We've had the best long snappers in the NFL. It's the most ridiculous stat, but it's true. Who is going to be our real Rookie of the Year? That's not a long snapper. St. Just. That's not actually where I was even going with that. He's the one who I think is going to be, but probably won't, because you know who's going to end up being in pessimistic Kenny's world. It's going to be Diami
Brown.
Diami Brown
With his single-digit number at receiver.
Yeah. That's actually who I picked. I figured you were going to say St. Just. Diami Brown's already been on the field. He didn't do much game 1, which is okay because nobody really did, other than McLaurin. And I think he's going to make some plays this year. I think that he's going to develop this year, and the wide receiver cuts next year are going to be even harder than they were this year.
We'll see. You got old Anthony Golden Gandy, whatever the hell his name is, on the old practice squad. Everybody was talking about how great he was, and he's on the practice squad.
And nobody claimed him.
Yeah, because he was hurt all year last year because they can't draft people, and they can't get good. They can't even get a good free agent wide receiver.
No, we got one on the IR. Also, can we all just quickly say a quick prayer to my boy Jimmy Moreland, who's no longer with us, football team wise?
He's dead though. He's dead to me.
He's in the same category as Fitzpatrick.
He's in the same category as Josh.
R.I.P. And also, I guess we should throw in here real quick before we make our Giants prediction. Any thoughts on a name? We're going to keep the football team?
I think there's only 2 decent options. I think all of them are awful, to be honest. I think every logo I've seen anybody mock up is absolute trash. It looks either like some West Texas football team, some trash ass XFL Arena League logo, or just like one of those like the Atlanta Falcons jerseys, right? With the big ATL and like the too much piping. It looks junky. I hate modern NFL jerseys. I'm going to be honest. Like, most modern looks are trash. You saw the classic look come back, and they added just a touch of modern to it for the Chargers. They looked classy as hell. That's one of the best jersey combos in the league, especially when they go powder blue. Looks awesome. I think you got to either go football team, which is my choice, or Red Wolves. You get to keep HTTR that way, which is fine. I think it's kind of stupid. But I kind of like football team. For a team that's had such a culture problem for so many years, the whole no name but team moniker, I like that. And not in a Kirk Cousins way. I want them to keep that. I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know if they can do it as far as the copywriting and all that, since it's too generic or whatever. But I don't know. It's kind of growing on me.
I have a speech.
Of course you do. Give us your soliloquy.
Okay, hold on. I have a lot of thoughts and prayers, but mostly thoughts. Okay. Oh, where do I want to start with this? Washington football team. I agree with you, Eddie. So here's the thing. before Red Wolves was even a thing, the first thing I said about the team name that I really wanted was that it was 2 syllables and it started with the letter R, so we keep HTTR. We could sing the theme songs. We get the everything was just like flow. Keep the burgundy and gold. Here's where my speech comes in. When we announced ourselves as the Washington football team, every single person that was a fan and a lot of people in the NFL thought it was a complete joke. A year into it, people got used to it once they saw the branding, once they saw the team get behind it, once they got used to it. People aren't okay with change. Change is not okay with anybody. I truly think, okay, because Eddie, I agree with you. You had a great example. The ATL on the Atlanta Falcons jersey is complete garbage.
It's ugly.
They've had that for, I think, 2 years now. And for 2 years, I can't get past it because every time I see it, I'm like, that's gross. What is that? But 90% of the stuff that's new, people don't like. You give it 2 years, everyone likes it. I think they could name us something terrible.
Brigade.
Yes. Well, it's okay. I have to admit, I'm doing this rant.
Monuments.
Well, listen. I'm doing this rant, and I got something against team names that don't end in S. That's been a thing for me for like 20 years. It should be pluralized. It should always be pluralized. It's my only grandpa moment. I don't like in hockey started doing it, like the Wild. Gross. Don't do anything like that. The WNBA is a bunch of teams like that. The XFL is a bunch of teams like that. Pluralize your name. If it's pluralized, I don't give a shit what it's called. And
team indicates more than one. It's a group, but under one name.
That name is so ridiculous. I kind of like it, but like
it's almost a protest against changing the name in general, which I also kind of find funny.
Right?
It's like, choose a name. Nah.
Yeah, that's what we did. I truly think that whatever we choose is going to get so much backlash for about 2 to 3 seasons, and then everyone's going to show up in that gear, and it's going to be just a thing again.
I don't know. Like, I think you saw a stadium that was 33% full, as you said, this last week, and I think not all of that is how bad the team has been. I think a lot of that is some heartbreak over the name being changed, and it's people don't like change. They don't. I'm being one of those people, but it's the team is more about a tradition with my family and my friends and my loved ones, and coming together under one thing for all these years. Whether every Sunday we may disagree on a million things in the world, but man, we always agreed on the Redskins, and we were always there for that one thing. And having that changed sucked, and I get it, and I'm okay with it being changed. I get it. I completely get that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to buy any other jerseys and stuff, but that's my choice. And there's a lot of people just like me, and there's a lot of people just like you that are just rooting and a tooting, ready to get rid of everything you got. I can't wait to get all of it. Please send me that. I'll put it on my wall. So I think it goes here and there, but I do think there's a lot of people that aren't going to get over it. I mean, you even heard it in the stadium this week. What did people sing? What did people say? And people were chanting, "Let's go Redskins!"
Right. And he was too, weren't you?
Here's how I look at it. So we've gone through like a couple years of the name change, culture change, whatever you want to call it. And I still went to a tailgate this last Sunday. I still got drunk at 9 a.m. I still had meat at 9:30 in the morning. I still went to a game where I was utterly disappointed. Watch a quarterback got hurt. Like, it didn't matter.
Typical team.
It didn't matter what the name was. Still had a great time before the game and a terrible time during the game, because it's the same thing no matter what we change. That's why all the people that are against the name change, it's like, get over it, because that's the team you're going to root for. Imagine us going to the NFC Championship. How many people that burn their jerseys on YouTube are going to purchase a football team or a Red Wolves jersey and be like, oh, I always supported them, because it's just as winning.
When they win the Super Bowl, I'm going to take whatever the Super Bowl shirt is, and I'm going to erase the Washington football team logo and the name, and then I'm going to Photoshop in the one I want, and then I'm going to pay to have them printed for everybody at the tailgate, and I'm going to sell them at a premium, and I guarantee I sell out in 3.2 seconds.
Make great money. There was, I'll be honest though, going with the jersey just for a second, going with the jersey at the tailgate at the game, it's about 50-50 at this point. And I thought it was going to be 90-10 Redskins over team, where everyone was going to be old Eddie Jenkins's, where they were like, it's the Redskins. But it was 50-50, and I was very impressed with that.
I will say a lot of it has with me not liking what the new stuff looks like currently. I'm glad they've kept the uniforms mostly the same. I've always hated this here under the shield. I never liked it when it said Redskins. I think it looks stupid. I don't like it when it's this gigantically long Washington font either in gold. I think it's awful. And I don't like the W and the font they're using because it is exactly Atlanta Falcons font. It's not even their font. It's Atlanta Falcons font. It might as well say ATL.
W for win.
So what's your most wanted name? Give me your top three.
Me or Kenny?
Kenny. Yeah, and your soliloquy.
Okay, so to be honest, Red Wolves is up there because of the, like I said, 2 syllables starts with an R. After Red Wolves, I don't give a shit what it is. So humorously, I want us to be the Monuments because I think that's the most Washington name you can be. It's all, and everyone's going to make fun of it, especially when our logo is basically a penis on the helmets, and that's it. But like that, to me, I want something that is either 2 syllables R or so DC, like the Washington, because we already have the Capitals, like, so the Washington Monuments would be like, oh my God, that's amazing. The Washington, like, Constitutions, something stupid like that.
The Washington taxation.
The Washington taxation without representations.
Eddie would definitely Photoshop Chase Young laying on his back under a Washington Monument jersey.
Yeah, I would. I don't think I'd have to Photoshop it. I'd have to make the Washington Monument larger.
Oh my God.
I will say what I said back in 2012 when this first became a thing. When people were like, hey, you're racist. You support a team with the Redskins name. And I said, back up. The team's always just been a football team to me. Like, that means nothing else. When you break it down on paper, you're correct. It's probably terrible, but I've never broken it down on paper because that's a football team. It's a nonsensical word. That's just a football team. But my backup statement to that was, listen, we can change the name to it. At the time, I said, we could be the Washington Flamingos. I'm still going to root for them.
Exactly.
Because it's my local football team. That's
exactly.
it.
And that whole issue is a multifaceted issue, as you know, because there's like, 600 and something Native American tribes and whatnot throughout North America. And terms come along at different times and are originated by different people. So I have no doubt that it is, in fact, racist to a lot of them. And I think, it takes very little to see somebody as they want to be seen. I say this as wearing the shirt, but like, it takes very little to see somebody as they want to be seen and to talk to them as they want to be talked to. And so again, I don't have any anger over it being changed. I hate that we didn't get like a last season like the Indians are getting. You know what I mean to say? Awful name they got there too. But
we just wait till we get
it was very abrupt and it just came along at a bad time with everything going on and the pandemic and everything. So, but maybe it was just the right time, right thing, and that was the way it was finally going to happen. So I'm happy to not hear about it anymore. Hopefully they pick a team. What are your top 3 there, Maximus?
Well, I did have a top 3 set, but I now like the Washington Flamingos. That was pretty good. No, and I do want to say I respect Eddie's feeling on liking to be like a classic look, classic whatnot. But I feel like Eddie's the one sitting over in the corner playing a Game Boy while I'm sitting there holding my new Switch. And I think we can have some really cool Red Wolves jerseys, or which is my top choice. out of the 8 finalists or whatever, probably that and the football team once again. I wouldn't be mad at the Red Hogs or anything like Super DC either.
We're gonna get more penis jokes than they got as the Redskins when they call it. People like the foreskins. Yeah, Red Hogs is just like an angry chlamydia filled penis at this point, you know.
NSFW.
Like I don't know. Really, if they do go Red Wolves, I hope they keep the jerseys absolutely the same, or they go back to the one season and the 2007 throwbacks, right?
Jason Campbell.
Yeah, that they lost the one game to the Giants on the 1 yard line because Portis couldn't get over the one.
And they were
take the feathers off the war drum, leave the R on there. Maybe even go into the old Gibbs R. Please, God, bring that back. Go back to this font. Please just go back to this font. I hate the Atlanta Falcons font. It's awful. But it's because it's not unique to the team. That's why I don't like it. But
I want to keep this logo and then rename us the Redskins.
We just got a speech impediment.
We can keep the W, and we can be the Washington Water Slide.
Oh God! And if they just kept the jerseys as is, honestly, and everything as is, the only thing I would add to it is put the stripe back on the helmet.
Yeah, no,
put the stripe back on the helmet.
I think they will with the new whatever logo we choose.
Like I love the stripe, and I think the numbers suffice. Just the stripe.
Yeah, I'm good with the stripe.
All right.
Speaking of stripes, are we gonna stripe the Giants this week?
I think so, but I need to know what are sizzling keys to success, Max. What do you think they have to do to win this game? And then my other question for both of you: what do they have to do to win this game? And is this a must-win? Okay. I know it's week 2. Sounds a little crazy, but you look at the schedule, you see those last 5 games, all against the NFC East. Is this a must-win?
Okay, so the first part of your question, the keys to success, that's going to be A, doing what Rivera said and figuring out why Daniel Jones tends to play well against us, and B, just kind of getting back to the fundamentals of what we were doing winning games last year, which is stout defense, kind of switching things up on offense, whether being run heavy for a little bit and then dumping it off on a out route or a play action, whatever. We're gonna have to get something going on the offense. It's kind of, we were just flat, lots of 3 and outs and stuff like that. So basically, get an offense going, and we got to get some sort of identity on that side of the ball with Heineke. That's the big thing. And I think the defense is going to be fine. It was just we played a really good team with a really good quarterback. That's all there was to it. I know we were kind of down on them a little bit after the game, but the more I sat back and thought about it, I'm like, week 1, short preseason, young team, still building chemistry. We're going to be okay. As far as a must win, I think so. I mean, we're going to Buffalo next week.
You got Kansas City coming up.
Yeah, and I mean, week 4, Falcons, that's definitely a winnable game. But you don't want to go into Buffalo 0-2, and you definitely don't want to go into Atlanta 0-3. So I think this is an important one.
Absolutely. What do you think, Kenny?
2 things with keys of the game. Number 1, I think we win the game if only this happens. Don't turn the ball over. We don't turn the ball over more than 1 time, we win this game. I think also I think we win the game if we don't turn the ball over more than once. I think we blow them out if, key number 2, we get an ounce of a pass rush consistently through the game. Because Daniel Jones is not a guy that I can trust if you put a little bit of pressure on him. As far as is this a must-win goes, I think it's absolutely silly and ludicrous to say in week 2 that anything is must-win because there are 15 other weeks, and in saying that, this game is absolutely a must-win game.
I love how he contradicts himself in the next
And,
sentence almost every time.
and I'll tell you why. Once again, the hard schedule I agree with, but you have 2 games at home in a season where you have 9 road games and 8 home games. 2 of the home games will have already been gone. If you start off 0-2, and we don't play division games until like 2029, like the rest of our division games after the Giants. So you start off with a loss in the division. It's all going to come down to a final month, but this game is one that you need to step on the Giants to continue going to your season. There's no reason to really panic at 0-2, but because of our situation of having 2 home games, one against probably the worst team in the division by far, if it's not us, and we can prove that this Thursday, which I hope we don't, you have to beat the Giants. Prediction of the score? So before I talk,
I mean, that's my next question. Is what's your prediction?
Okay, so I actually did predict we were going to lose in a shootout, which ended up being a shootout because of circumstance. I feel because that game could have been a shootout with the Chargers, but just everyone decided not to score once they got to the 20-yard line. I said we were going to lose to the Chargers. I just saw we were. Okay, calm down.
Yeah,
I just thought we were 2 green coming out of the gate. My prediction against the Giants 13, the Washington football team 32.
Whew, you sound like me last week. So for me, 2 things they have to do, 2 keys to the game. Heine needs to pick up where he left off, which was playing very good football. I think he's got a 91.6 passer rating. Not too bad. I think he might have had 1 interception. I think that was from like a tipped, like deflected ball that wasn't his fault. He's been pretty smart. Second, I'm right there with you. Give me a pass rush.
That's
Gotta see it. You got to see it because Daniel Jones isn't that good. He really isn't. And that defensive line needs to do what they said they were going to do. And I think it was Allen that said, we'll give you a better game this Thursday than we gave you Sunday. Make good on your word. Let's do it.
Right. Remember,
and is this
4 words, 4 words. Eat Daniel Jones raw.
Good God. And is this a must-win game? Absolutely. It is. It sucks saying that at the beginning of the year, but just looking at the schedule, winning first place in the East last year has put the team in a more difficult spot than it could be, especially with the NFL gods again screwing the team with 5 division games to finish out the season, which is insane. It's insane. When does that happen in the NFL? To nobody but this team. Absolutely. That being said, my score 23-10, Washington. And you know why they're going to win, Kenny?
Why's that?
Because I'm going to be there with you this Thursday at the tailgate.
He's calling it now.
Breaking news, but you can't say it on this podcast and then not go to the game now.
Oh, I'm breaking the news. I'm getting Jackie's ticket. She's selling it to me. She's picking me up in Columbia, and I'll be there.
All right.
In a hazmat suit.
I got presents to bring you, by the way.
I can't wait.
I'm glad you told me. Now I can prepare for that. Good. Okay, awesome.
I just wanted to see Kenny smile. Look at how smiley he is. He misses me.
Because it's been 2.5 years since you've been to a game.
We're going to snuggle.
We're going to snuggle in the seats.
You all are
maybe
so
my
cute.
depression's over. Hopefully I don't catch the death.
Just don't
now, Max.
It'll be fun.
What is your prediction there, Max?
Okay. Before I give my score prediction, I would like to make a quick rundown of how much faith Eddie has in Taylor Heineke, because he picked him up in fantasy today, and he left these quarterbacks in free agency: Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan,
trash,
Teddy Bridgewater, Tua,
horrible,
Kirk.
garbage.
He likes that cousin.
F him.
Derek Carr. And we won't go through the rest, but Daniel Jones is also one of them. So he has some faith in Taylor. My score prediction is going to be that Washington does what they love to do, and give us all a heart attack and keep this game close. Rivera's going to go for 2 at the end of the game, and we're going to win 22-21.
Good Lord.
So like the opposite of last year.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's because of the Skins tangibles. If you remember that stupid segment, awful. And they get 5 points for skin tangibles. Oh goodness.
Now we got team tangibles.
Oh boy. Well, look at that, guys. Can you believe it? We're back. There was not any yelling, moderate amounts of happiness, lots of amounts of sadness. Kenny didn't give us a poem. Maybe next week. Maybe he'll be in spirits to give us a poem next week. He did give us a ceremonial changing of the jersey. Here we are. Here we are. That's it.
That's it.
The buck stops with Heine.
Till 2040.
But that being said, we'll see you next week. I'm your host, Eddie Jenkins, with your other hosts, Max Bacon. Your other host, Kenneth J. Paltrow with the third.
The Giants raw.
Saying, remember, hope is the one thing that can help us get through the darkest of times. See ya. Bum, ba, da, ba, da.
Bum, bum.